Welcome to the quietest ones in the room with your host, Trey. I gotta say it, just the mere fact that you have clicked onto this video and you're listening to the sound of my voice, you by far are the most intelligent people on the face of the planet. So once again, thank you for joining me. Wow, so these last couple days, I haven't posted as much as I'd like to. Typically, I post every day, but I've had a lot of moving pieces going on, traveling. So I haven't been able to post like I wanted to. But in spite of that, I've been able to almost have a break and think about some things that I certainly wanted to discuss with you. And in particular, it kind of revolves around much of what I've talked about before or the individuals that I've discussed when I talk about clown of the day. And I think this discussion I want to have is really important because I think we're all quite aware of a major problem that has been taking place for so long. It continues to take place, and looking into the foreseeable future, it's likely to continue unless some drastic things change it all. And it revolves around the concept of inequality, money, the system, our government, the rich, we the people, so on and so forth. We are seeing much of a society in which one's lifestyle. And it causes anxiety, it causes depression, it causes anger, hatred, all these different things really begin to weigh down on everyday people and make them question themselves, question their families, in particular their parents who might have not had anything and therefore they don't. Makes them question their educational system. Every single aspect of society is now questioned. And what I really want to address is the amount of talking heads I see who, to me, are clearly plants. And what I mean by plants is, I'm sure you've heard money for the purposes of watching those who are talented in the industry and in a lot of ways circumventing them and taking advantage of them. It's kind of like an informant, essentially, someone who shouldn't be there. And I see this a lot in discussions about economic never ever talk about solutions. And so I have a rule that if you only talk about problems and you don't provide solutions, then what you're really dealing with is someone who's actually a part of the problem. And that certainly needs to be addressed because many people rely on these people for information. And week after week, these people just talk about the problem and they don't talk about solutions. And then when they do talk about solutions, it's kumbaya shit. It's not real. And who's responsible for changing it. And it's always been known throughout history who's responsible for changing the conditions of the people. But many of these economists and mass media talking heads and politicians, they don't address the issues on purpose because many of them, let's be honest, many of them are a part of the rich, the influential. And so before I go further, I want to say this, something I came to the realization of while I was taking a trip out of the state and then returning to the state. I had some time to think. And one of the things that I realized is in life, you have, I want to say, two different realities that can occur. One is you can be a person who, when you do whatever you do, whether it's through your artistry, whatever you're professional at, you can influence the masses. And that's all fine and well. And we know those people. We know the Michael Jacksons of the world. We know the Will Smiths of the world. We know the Brad Pitts. We know the Donald Trump. These are people who have the masses eyeballs at all times. And on the other side, you have a group of people who are the influencer of the influencers. And they don't get a lot of mass media attention and eyeballs. They just don't. But what they do is they influence the people that are those who get the eyeballs. And that's something important to realize, that when you have a message or you're professional and you're doing something, it's not always for everyone. And that's what I love about what I've been able to do, because I realize that what I do talk about, I sincerely mean it. When you click onto this video and you're listening, I consider you guys the most intelligent people on the face of the planet. And I know that the message that I share, the things that I talk about, it's not for everyone. And that's okay. I'm completely fine with that. But let's get back to what I wanted to talk about. It's really like we understand that this world is not what you're made to believe it is. And so the reality is the rich, more than any time in history, and let's really say for the last 10, 20 years, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who the president has been, Democrat, Republican. It doesn't matter. The reality is the tax system has benefited the rich over and over and over again. People have been able to pass wealth down generation after generation after generation. And I simplify it as hereditary wealth, which is truly the real problem. And the amount of wealth that's able to pass down through a state, the amount of wealth that's able to be passed down through life insurances and stocks that people own, and the land, and all the real estate, the businesses, the private businesses, like all these things matter in terms of building wealth, and they're not taxed the way that they're supposed to be taxed. There are asinine barely any limits on estate tax. The amount of money that flows down through families is astounding. We're talking about hundreds of trillions of dollars being passed down. And I know you guys have heard about the great wealth transfer, which is no longer a secret. It's granddad and grandma who passing away and setting it up for their sons and daughters or their grandkids to inherit that wealth and have extreme buying power as they move forward. But I'll get right to it now. Let's not forget who is supposed to be responsible for ensuring that the rich are not taking advantage of we the people, the everyday citizen, which these people are a part of the citizenry. However, the government is supposed to ensure that the citizenry gets what it wants. And clearly, you have an imbalance of about 99% of the people in this country wanting a better and fairer system as it pertains to wealth. Yet the 1% are able to continually influence our politicians and our government. And because of that, we don't have a government that is fulfilling its promise to the people as a whole. It's only benefiting a small percentage of people over and over again. But let's not forget, even though you have the 1%, you have about, from that 1%, you have another 20% of people who play the game effectively as well. And although they're not as wealthy, they practice nepotism. They practice holding individuals back from achieving the American dream. They practice buying whole blocks and cities sight unseen. And these people are just as greedy and misguided as the wealthiest. And I kind of want to stop again and shed light on something that I talked about recently, which is, think about this. You have individuals such as Gavin Newsom, Michelle Obama, doing fucking podcasts. Now, I don't know about you, and I can only speak from my personal experience. As an entrepreneur, I've been in positions in my life where when you talk about leisure and the ability to just enjoy your time, it's been when I've been in positions of having other people do the work. And I realized once I experienced that in my life, the amount of lies people are told regarding how much work the powerful actually put in. Now, again, I'm not rich. I'm a regular person. But I can tell you this beyond a shadow of doubt, that the fact that someone like Gavin Newsom has the time to do a podcast when he's the governor of a state which has one of the largest world economies. Are you fucking kidding me? And he has time to sit down and do a podcast. But let's not forget, that is only indicative of what people have known for so long that used to go on in mass media, which is In mass media, many of those talking heads that you would see, hear, love, many of them were federal workers. Many of them were individuals getting paid to spew propaganda, which would mislead you time and time again, so that other people could benefit off the fruits of your labor. And now we have the elite, Gavin Newsom, the Michelle Obama, the Megan, the Sussex, the Duchess. We have these individuals doing shows and podcasts, and they're supposed to be the most powerful people on the face of the planet. And it's like you even have people who love it that these individuals are stepping into these spaces. But what happens when the everyday regular person wants to step into the same spaces and share information that is not only enlightening, but inspiring and truth? But yet these individuals step in, and therefore the algorithm shifts and the attention is handed to them. Because let's be honest, we know how the game works. The game works in the sense that YouTube and your other major platforms drive attention in their direction. And there's also a whole third party institution out there with company after company with tools that fake likes, fake comments, fake views, fake it all. They fake everything to make you believe that these people and what they're saying is important. But you knew this. You knew that right now you could go and pay $10 to someone in India to give you more TikTok views, more TikTok likes, whatever the hell you wanted. You and I know that in order to have a so-called major presence, you need to have big players on those platforms. You need I need to invite a Cat Williams. Oh, I need to have a Joe Rogan. Oh, I need to have a Andrew Schultz. Oh, I need to have a on and on and on. But it doesn't mean that they're saying anything that's truly going to change the trajectory of your fucking day-to-day life. Your cost of bread, your cost of gasoline, the cost to purchase a vehicle, the cost to buy a home, the cost to send your kids to college. Matter of fact, since Biden was president and you let's say you liked him, you voted for him, are your wages out? Did your wages outpace inflation? Was your life made easier? Do you have that 1.5 million you need to retire now? Trump, you voted for him, you like him? His first administration. Were you able to get into a position where you got a pension? You saved up some retirement, so now you got your 1.5. You got some more land. You got that loan for that business. Your wages outpaced inflation. How about now? Is it happening for you now? Or are you somewhat in a similar position? Or have things actually gotten a little worse for you? Or have you just given up? Because why keep doing it? So what I really want to say is, The social contract has been broken. The social contract of the government working for you has been broken. It's been broken for much longer than many recognize. And it's damn sure been ripped up and pissed on by this point. But do you feel it? Do you see it? Do you hear it? I'm sure you do. So then, like I mentioned, you hear people talk, what is the problems? So what's the solution? Obviously, the solution is you have to have a government that works for you. And when you don't have a government that works for you, the social contract is broken. And therefore, there's only one thing that's required. You have to replace said government with a government that works for you. You have to replace the individuals who are unwilling to tax the way that the wealthy need to be taxed. You have to replace individuals who have time to do fucking podcasts. You have to replace individuals who have time to be in government, quasi-departmental organizations and positions, but yet run Fortune 500 companies as well. How the fuck can you do that? Like you got your hand in one pot and your hand in another, and we damn sure know how it definitely works when you're talking about money. Like the stock market and the government, and you know all the people who've gotten wealthy, like the Nancy Pelosi's, the amount of people who've gotten wealthy who were in government positions off of the stock market is alarming. And it's obvious that these people aren't qualified to be in the positions that they're in and need to be replaced. Now, if you're unwilling to do what it takes to replace them, then you can't complain. And that likely is indicative of you being a part of the problem. You're likely that person who has the 1.5 million you need. Or you're just plain old ignorant. And that's a possibility too. Maybe you are just as broke as the next person and you're just plain old ignorant and you like the fact that other people have it and you don't. And what I mean by have it and you don't is just the ability to not have to slave your way through life just to pay rent and afford your car note on a car that's a sucky ass production of a vehicle. They don't make them like they used to. You know, I thought about this too. I said to myself, isn't it crazy that the government was going to make it that everyone was required to buy a particular type of vehicle? An electric vehicle is what the hell you were going to have to purchase. So think about that. If you had just simply said to yourself, you know what, I'll buy Tesla. After that was understood, the amount of money you would have made. But let's think about it. You probably didn't even have the money at that time because conditions were just like they are now. You're living paycheck to paycheck. So it's obvious who the problem is. It's the government. And the government is being influenced and ridden like a whore by the rich in this country and the rich abroad. It's a slap in the face when other wealthy people come here from other countries and they lay out the red carpet for them. As opposed to individuals such as me and you and many of us who've been working since the age of maybe 14, 15, 16, paying taxes, and you get treated like shit by the people who get paid off of the work you do. Your labor pays their bills. And so simply, yes, the tax system needs to change. The wealthy have to be taxed. Their ability to pass hundreds of millions of dollars and collectively trillions of dollars on into perpetuity is insanity. We all live here. We all have rights. And ultimately, it's a better society when you don't have these poverty issues that we have. It's a better society. It's a shame that we have homeless encampments in every major city in America. And then you'll see on the news, oh, the governor, the mayor, the city council, whoever the hell is requiring those people to pack up their tents and move to another location. Where? Where are they going to go? And so everybody's trying to figure out at this point, have they lost their mind? Is there a way out? And then many people conclude, oh, I just need to make more money, more money, 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 more money, 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 money. I remember I talked to my great uncle, and he was asking, how much my house cost when we bought it. And it was astounding to him how much the house cost. And it's not even what we think of as expensive now. The house isn't even close to that by far. It's the average cost of a house in America. But back then, when he was younger, 20s, I mean, you could build a home for $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 on your own land and be straight. But those days now, so don't let anybody play in your face and talk about the problem and not tell you flat out to your face, it's the government's job. It's their responsibility because they fucking work for you. If they're talking about, oh, you need to write a book, or you need to start a podcast, or you need to be a contributor on a major publication, or you need to march somewhere, no. It's legislation and voting people in and out. And when that doesn't work, history tells a story. But this can't continue. This cannot continue on. It cannot keep going on and on the way it is, and there not be severe consequences. And we're seeing people lose their fucking minds now. These politicians think that we don't see how their efforts never benefit us after all the talking they do. See, but you have to be able to hear what they say analyze it, and understand it, and think about ways you can navigate your life. But listen, you as an individual, it's not enough for you. It's not even supposed to be on you. As I mentioned before, it's your government. Our government. The issue is hereditary wealth. But they want you to think it's something else. They want you to think that, oh, it's because you don't work hard enough. Oh, you're not smart enough. Some of the dumbest people I know are only where they are as it pertains to somewhat well off is because of their familial help. They're not smarter than you. They don't work any harder than you work. But that's just the misconception that is provided to you so you can bust your ass and the yield goes to them. You see it in the workplace, in corporate America, you see it in the stock market, you see it in the housing, you see all these different games and hustles that are played over and over again disadvantage you. And now we got bullshit like I can't believe the amount of time. And see, I don't even watch sports like I used to anymore. It's been so long. But just the amount of fucking DraftKings and bet on this and that team and shit like that. It's like the amount of money that people lose doing that shit. But they're trying to convince you the people who've already got the money. I'm like, damn, y'all got all that money and y'all they promote things that they have no money. These athletes, these entertainers. It's like, damn, do you actually have the money they say you have? Probably not. Maybe, I don't know. But they damn sure promote like they don't. And so it's just all in your face all the time, all the ways to extract your resources from you and the most precious thing you have in life, which is your time. Time is the most precious resource you have. And they find a way to use it to their advantage. The rich. And you know they are. The government. And you know who that is. So when it comes to your local elections, you've been told what you can do. When it comes to your state, you've been told what you can do. When it comes to the federal, you've been told what you can do. And so that's what I got for now. And yeah, I just see I don't. It can't keep going this way because people are fed up, and we know what that looks like when people get truly fed up. It opens up the door for chaos and for other types of enemies to influence these minds to do very dumb and violent things. And so, anyway, that's all I got for now. Please share your thoughts in the comment section, as well as like, share, and subscribe. And as always, until next time.